I still think there's so much focus on how we're more negatively impacted, but we forget
Hmm.
the opposite is also true. That not only are we more supported in therapy, but with any positive support or intervention in our lives, that is possible as an HSP, and not forgetting that.
Absolutely, and not falling, I don't know how you feel about this, but I do sometimes slightly struggle with the whole discourse around sensitivity because
Yeah.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
it seems so binary. And so
Yes.
either it's, as you said, it focuses very much on the challenges and the
Yeah.
difficulties of being sensitive, or it goes into it's just, it's a superpower, it's amazing, it's this, it's that. And I
Yeah.
just feel a bit like, well, first of all, it's a neutral personality
Right.
trait, and it can be a challenge, but maybe it's also an advantage in some ways. But I just sort of what I want to do with my research, but also with my writing, is just to bring it slightly back into the middle of it, rather
Mm-hmm.
than it's this or that or those extremes. I think you sometimes see and hear when you look at stuff online, or I do sometimes struggle with that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I'm the same. I get very uncomfortable going to either extreme because it's not the reality of the lived experience of an HSP. So I'm curious if you could talk more about what is harmful in living in those extreme views of sensitivity, if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, I think my thoughts are really is that I think if you go too much into, this makes me very special, and I make it other people's responsibility to, to accommodate me and my
Mhm.
sensitive disposition. I
Yeah.
think it just sometimes has a tinge of narcissism for me.
Yeah.
And I think with that, I really struggle personally on a personal level. Um, and on the other side, I think the danger is just really just seeing it as as a burden and as something we need to live with. And oh God, it's going to be, it's
Hmm.
just a challenge, all day long. And again, I just feel like that doesn't really represent the reality of it, or is a bit simplified. And I just, what therefore struck me as important. Is to also to focus on the positive aspects. Of course, as you know, being reflective, being thoughtful, enjoying depth. I often think that is slightly maybe should be more highlighted. Um, that it's there is something enjoyable about seeking depth in life, and there's something enjoyable about seeking depth in conversations or in our
Yeah.
work or whatever it is, and just like we're doing right now, I think,
Hmm.
and that should be celebrated, I think, and should be enjoyed.